It's the Dreamscape.
Greetings, dreamers. That's not my normal one. Okay, we're going to go with it anyway. Greetings, dreamers. Welcome back to Indie Synergy Exchange. My name is Tanner Giese. I'm the host, and I'm also known as Number 2 Pencil Man and owner of Tanner's Tales Entertainment. Joining me tonight, we have my lovely co-host,
Lemona. Hi.
Hi, Lemona. What are you?
What am I? I'm a multi-creative, but my current focus is on writing and hopefully music.
Very cool. And tonight we are joined by a very special guest, Alexa Hanson. Everybody give it up for Alexa! Woo! Yes, we are super excited to have Alexa on the show tonight. But before we begin, you know what we gotta do. The whole spiel. You guys have been watching us now for 26 episodes. This is episode 26. We've been at this for over half a year now, and it's been an amazing journey. If you like what we do and you want to support what we do, please consider interacting with the content, giving us a comment or two, and subscribing to the channel. It helps us grow this platform so that we can introduce the world to all these amazing indie creators. And if you've been watching the show, then you know that we've had many, many different types of indie creators, ranging from comic book creators, musicians, poets, authors, clowns, indie wrestlers, businesses, and a doctor of psychology. We've done it all. You name it. If it can be done indie, it's been on the show or will be on the show. So if you are liking that, please consider supporting us. And if you are an indie creator and want to be on the show, reach out to Dreamscape Empyrean on social media or Number 2 Pencil Man, and we'll get you scheduled. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our guest, Alexa. Alexa, who are you and what do you do?
Well, like you said, my name is Alexa Hanson, and my indie creative endeavor that I do is I create art toys just for fun. Just creating these awesome, they're not toys, they're more collectibles because there's no bending, there's no anything like that. These are just figures that I've created based off designs that I've come up with over the years, and yeah, they're actually pretty sweet. Here, I'm going to show you guys one right now.
Please do.
This guy, I just finished recently. You've probably seen her on some of my Instagram posts, or not Instagram, but TikTok posts. But yeah, let's see if, there you go. Let's get a better. Nice. So she's really cool. I call her Pumpkinhead. But yeah.
It's a classic name. I love it. I love the design.
And the knife comes out too.
That is
so she's
really
a multi-parter.
Cool. I love that. Normally you don't see the multi-parters for, like, on the indie scene. You get, like, the solid figures, and that's about it. That is
because it's
really
a lot
cool.
easier to do.
Wow.
Honestly, most of my stuff is single piece. Most of my stuff is single piece, like nothing comes off. Granted, I do print all of my toys in individual pieces, and that's just a whole nother tangent regarding 3D resin printers. So you'd understand if you have ever messed with the resin printer. The less height you have on a print, the shorter amount of time it'll take to print. So it's maneuvering all of the pieces onto the plate to be as short as possible, so that way it prints a lot faster. Or it could take a day to print one thing, and you don't want that. It would be awful. But sorry, I got on a tangent about resin printers.
No, I was gonna say, like, how long have you been at this now?
I have been messing around in the world of art toys for about a year.
Okay.
I started it during my last hiatus from my job. During my last hiatus, my job takes breaks let me put a little context into that. My full-time job is actually, I'm a lead character designer on Rick and Morty. And so each season, we work each season. So right now, I'm actually on hiatus between seasons 9 and 10. I'll go back into my full-time job in October. So I've got a little bit of time to decompress from the insanity that was season 9. But yeah, that is why I mentioned a hiatus. So during my last hiatus, not this current one, I decided that I wanted to turn some of my drawings into 3D figures. I taught myself how to 3D model. And I kept having the thought of how much fun it would be to turn my characters into actual figures. And I don't know, I thought other people would like them too. So, because the reason I even got into all this really was because I'm a big fan of, well, not a big fan, I'm a fan of artistic blind boxes. Like you've probably heard of like Pop Mart, their kind of stuff. There's also some other smaller ones called like Finding Unicorn. That's another like company that does these artistic blind boxes. Anyway, you can't see, but I've got a ton of random stuff in my office. If I unblurred my background, you'd be like, whoa. And that's not even seeing what's in front of me in my computer space. It's a lot. And the reason why I fell in love with it is because I loved the amount of creativity that went into each one of them, even though these ones specifically are more mass produced, something that I don't imagine myself doing. But you never know. You never know. I bet some of these artists that created these toys, I probably had no idea that they were going to go that direction. And yet here they are. But all of these little figures and random toys, whether they're collectible or whether they're just throwaway blind box toys, they inspire me and they make me happy. And I felt that I could share my own creativity in a similar way by creating art toys on the side. So I will go ahead and share another one that I actually really like. That was one of my, I'm going to share my very first one that I did actually. She is the very first toy I've ever done.
That is fun.
So you can see that she's actually pretty big.
Oh, yeah.
So her hair is supposed to look like fire.
That's cool.
Because it's like solid, it's kind of hard. I'm trying to like focus it. Because it's like solid, it's hard to get that fire look. But I did mess around with the paint a lot. So
that's
really
cool.
thin.
Like
these wings have broken off multiple times.
Really? Wow.
Super glue's my best friend. I mentioned that before. Super glue's my best friend. But yeah, I learned a lot because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how I should print it. I basically just used some context clues based off of other people that make their own stuff and their own toys. And I knew that it would be easier if I printed these toys in pieces. So like her arms, those are separate pieces. Her torso, her legs, individual legs, separate pieces. Her wings even were separate pieces. And even her hair. I don't know if you can see it, but like you could see that little gap right there.
Yeah.
Her hair actually was a separate piece that I had to kind of shove onto her head after I painted it. Lessons learned. Now I understand how not to do it, And
that's so cool.
I think that's why I love her so much. She may not be as creative or as colorful as some of my most recent stuff, but she was a very good lesson to learn. Like I learned so much just off of this.
Yeah.
Like how to make the feet a little bit bigger or else it's going to topple over.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't have known that until I printed her and then realized her original feet were too small. So I actually did have to go back and adjust her feet. And even these are not wide enough to support her giant head because she has that she has all this right here, and it's pulling her back when she stands. Not enough to make her fall over without a little bit of force, but she's wobbly. And but I keep her, and I keep her as is because she's a reminder of where I started. And
I love that.
And I love it too, because I don't believe in erasing your mistakes. I think it's good to look back and remember. That's how you remind yourself. That's how you learn. That's how you mentally support yourself in your progress. Because I made another mistake on another figure that I actually had posted on my website for sale, and then I had to take it off because some damage showed up that I wasn't prepared for. I don't know if you've seen him, but
yes, I like this one a lot. This is probably one of my
really
favorites.
Cool.
Oh, that's so fun.
So she is a tabby boxer. I call her my spicy kitty because she's a fighter.
I love it.
For obvious reasons. But I loved the size of the gloves. I wanted them to be oversized. I added knuckles gloves because why not?
Yeah, it's cool.
And I love this little bandage on her tail. That's probably one of my favorite little details that I put in there, not realizing how much work it was going to be to add the shading into the spaces. But it's okay. Lesson learned.
Yeah, that one's probably my favorite.
That's cool. I'm going to show you the lesson that I've had to learn, and which is why she's no longer available on my store. When you are creating a resin print, you have to make sure that you let it fully dry and that you let it fully drain. So there's no resin inside, because sometimes you could print, you can print these things hollowed out, and you need a drainage hole that's big enough to release all of the excess resin. And if you don't, the resin will try and force its way out. I don't know if you could see that. You could see, there you go. See that crack?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was such a sad thing when that crack popped.
Oh, man.
I looked over at it and I was like, what was that sound? And I went and picked it up because it's in my living room on a little shelf on my wall. I picked it up and I was like, nothing fell off. And then I turned it around and I was like, oh, no, what? How? Because it's fully painted. It's finished. It's beautiful. And yet it cracked, and it is all the way across. You could see.
Yeah.
And and it's because the excess resin, it created gas inside. And because I had sealed off any of the holes with super glue, when I attached the head onto the body, had nowhere to escape except a vulnerable spot that it apparently just created for itself. I did super glue it back together, so it is glued back. Because any excess gas has already escaped.
Yeah.
But that is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, because it ruined this guy. Made me very sad.
Aww.
I still love it, and I will keep it, and it'll just be another one of those. I look up at it, and I'm like, okay, lesson learned. And that's okay. That's part of the creative process. It's not denying those mistakes. It's learning from them. And using that knowledge to your advantage. And that applies professionally as well. Even for me in the industry that I'm in, I make mistakes all the time. And I get called out for some of those mistakes, but instead of taking it as like a jab, because in the industry, the animation industry is extremely competitive. So you take even though it comes from a good place, a lot of the time, any criticism just feels like such a, ooh, you're screwing up, you're messing up. You can't take it that way. Because if you have that kind of an attitude, it's going to eat you alive. It's going to eat you alive mentally and physically, because it may not seem like it, but working on a computer and on a screen for 12 to 16 hours a day during the season, it's a lot. It is a lot, and it is so draining. So for you to have such low morale or just or burnout going into stuff like that, it'll eat you alive, and it'll cause you to have bad reactions or poor interactions with coworkers. And a lot of stuff when it comes into the industry is you need to have good rapport and be good with people. You need to be a people person. A lot of artists, we like to huddle up in a corner and draw and act like we don't exist. And I still do that. That's why I have an office. That's why I have an office. That's why I have a door closed. And I say, nope, world doesn't exist. I'm drawing. But you also need to be willing to listen, take criticism, and don't take it personally. Take it as an opportunity to grow and learn from the mistakes. Because if you don't, you're not going to make it, you know? Anyway, I applied that logic into making these toys. And like I said, I just learn from each mistake. And that's why I hang on to the ones that I've made mistakes on. Including this one, which I will show you now. I don't know if you've seen her a couple of times she is on my TikTok as well. She's got a little lollipop right there, little star on her cheek. And if you can't see that, her bangs cover her eye completely.
That's such a fun figure.
I actually didn't model the eye underneath the bangs, so she doesn't have an eye under there. And the reason why is because I knew the bangs were going to cover it, so and it doesn't look weird. It doesn't look weird at all. It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But the mistake I made with this one was making her jacket, this area down here, you can kind of see it. I made it much, much, much too thin. And while I was having to sand things down to make these pants fit, because I didn't fit them properly, it got so thin that I was almost able to see through this spot right here.
Okay.
And it was scary. Nothing broke, luckily. Actually, that's a lie. The lollipop head, the lollipop, it broke off the other day while I was live streaming on TikTok, and I didn't show it because nobody needed to know. And I super glued it back on, and it's fine. See, look, it never happened.
Good as new.
Good as new. Oh, also, another thing I did with her, I was impatient. And this was another lesson that I learned. I was impatient, and all I wanted to do was paint her. And I didn't have white primer, of all things. I'd ran out of white primer. I could have gone to the store, but I had gray primer, like a dark gray primer, almost black. And I was like, as long as I prime it, it should be just fine. That is another lesson learned. If you want to add light, bright colors onto something, start with a white base. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble, a lot of layers of paint. And you're not going to be able to see it on this video, but on some of my other videos, I've pointed out this unfortunate mistake. I added so many layers to her skin, so that way it actually showed through, or like it hid all of that dark gray layer, that I was adding so many layers that the paint underneath didn't dry fully, and it ended up splitting. There's a bunch of different splits and cracks all on her face that, unless you're looking really close, you can't see it, but I can see it. And anybody who ever owned her, if I decide to sell her, which I don't think I will, because it's another one of those, I made a mistake and now I've learned kind of lessons. So it may just join my beautifully bad collection. I don't know.
I like that name.
But
it's a good name.
I don't know if you could see that, but right along there, let's see. You could see that line right there. You see it, that crack? That's the paint that split because it needed a way to, like, the bottom layer was still trying to dry as I was adding more layers on top. And eventually it just split. And that was just a lesson learned. And I look back at her, I still think she looks great, but it is definitely a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, which is really unfortunate. But I will make another one of her. She turned out really cool. And her bangs are so cool. It's actually a completely separate piece. you can see right here.
Yeah.
You see that separation? This is its own piece from the head. So the bangs and the ponytail are separate from the head.
These
Goodness,
are so
I
cool.
wish I could show you guys the 3D file, because it's a lot easier to explain some of that stuff if I can show the file.
No, that's super impressive. I've just watching you pull up all these toys and talk about what you've learned. It's really encouraging and inspiring to other creators that want to go into this field. Did you have something that you wanted to ask, Katie?
Yeah, sorry, I've been talking off.
No, you're good. No, we love it.
I don't know anything about 3D printing, really. And you said 3D resins. Are there different, or do you know just generally the different forms of 3D printing media that exist?
I do. I do know of a few. That is a good question. The two that I am knowledgeable about is filament, which is a plastic, and then resin, which is actually a liquid. Starts out as a liquid, but it solidifies when exposed to UV light. So that's how it prints.
That's cool.
So yeah, actually right here you can kind of see the blurred space right here.
Yeah.
That is a filament printer. There's a bunch of rolls right there. Each one of those spools is its own colored filament, and you put it, you put it up here in this. We have the fancy filament printer. My husband loves to use it to print out pieces. I actually had him print out some skateboard pegs for the wall.
Oh, that's cool.
Those.
I love it.
And I went to Comic-Con recently, and I got to meet the artist Shag. I don't know if you know who Shag is, but you look up his art. It's very iconic. And I bought a skateboard, and I'm actually going to show it off because I like it.
Please do.
I actually have a lot of skateboards. You can see all of these skateboard decks. Yeah. Each one, that one is for Rick and Morty season 5. These are all crew skateboards. Oh. So that's Rick and Morty season 5, Rick and Morty season 6. Rick and Morty season 7 is actually when I started. I just happened to get season 6 and 5 just for fun. And hang on. I bet this is super entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, really quick. I'm going to show this off. This is actually really cool. This is the season 10 or season 8 crew board.
Oh, that's
so that's
fun.
going to go on my wall as well. It's the crew gift that they give to all of the crew members on the show. And honestly, it's really cool. I have another board out in my living room that I won in a raffle at work, and it's actually signed by the creators of the show, which is really cool. It was a random thing. Anyway, this is the skateboard that I am excited to hang up.
Oh, wow.
I actually had it signed. He signed it right here. Let's see. There it is. Shag.
Very similar
right
to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an iconic art style. And if you like Disney, anything Disney really, he's done a lot of Disney related art. So you look up Shag and you look up Disney, you'll see something you recognize. But obviously this is not Disney. This is a little more adult oriented.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
But yeah, he was at Comic-Con and I happened to walk by his booth, his area while he was there. And I asked him if he could sign the skateboard that I bought. And he said, of course. I got talking to him. Super nice guy. Love him.
I love it.
But yeah, the filament printer, like I said, we use it to print off tools. You can print off a lot of really cool things. You could print off toys. I know you guys have, you mentioned that you had a 3D printer come on before.
Yeah.
My guess is that he uses the filament printer.
Yeah,
and prints, different toys for things like that. We've definitely printed a few things I think there was an Onyx from Pokemon.
Yeah.
An Onyx toy, and it was so cool.
Yeah, you can do
but no, we print all sorts of stuff. My husband uses it to print pieces to organize his board games. We're big board game people, so he's got a lot of. The second he gets a new board game, he immediately goes online and finds a 3D print for the inserts for that board game. It's the first thing he does. We don't play it until the inserts are printed. That is how he works. But,
oh man.
So yeah, there's the filament printer, which I did use at first to print off my toys, and I actually do have one that didn't break. This, I'm gonna go. This was one of the first toy designs I did. I do have this one on TikTok.
I think I've seen, yeah.
This one is one of the first ones I've done where I was testing out the filament printer to see if it's a direction I could go. The one on my TikTok is resin. I ended up moving forward into resin just because there are a lot of defects that come with filament.
Yeah.
Overhang is a big deal. If you have a character that's got a lot of overhang, because obviously look, her jaw right here, there's nothing to support it, so you have to create these supports that go up to it, and they just cause a lot of, like, I don't know if you could see it, but you could see some of the damage on like the neck right there. I just didn't like that it wasn't clean, because I remember thinking, oh, I've seen so many awesome looking prints that have come out so clean. Why isn't this working? Turns out it wasn't filament, it was resin. And then I asked my husband, hey, you'd be cool. I didn't ask him. I said, you'd be cool if we put a resin printer in the garage, right? Within about a month after getting this guy, about 2 months after getting this guy and realizing that it wasn't going to work for what I wanted, we got a resin printer because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I work hard, and all I wanted to do was have fun. Anyway.
I think resin's a little bit nicer, though, because it feels smoother, and it looks smoother in a lot of cases.
Also, depending on how you print it, like some of the pieces that I print, I like to print not hollowed out, so it's like just solid. So like this girl, like the one I showed you, her legs, this leg and this leg is completely solid, so she's got a little heft to her. It's like,
I like that.
Yeah, and it just, there's something that makes me think quality whenever I feel something with a bit of weight in it. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, I agree. I think it's definitely a good factor of quality.
Yeah, I enjoy the quality that resin provides, and I like that it comes out as smooth as it does. There are plenty of times where it doesn't, and those are plenty of mistakes that I have made. And I have shown on my TikTok page. I don't even know if I've mentioned the name of my TikTok page this time around, because this is take 2.
Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty happen.
Yes. My TikTok page for all of my art toys is called Bad Apple Toys. And yeah, you can find me on TikTok, on Instagram, and it actually is the name of my online store as well. Right now, I literally only have one thing on my store, art toy wise, and I genuinely don't want to sell it. That's why I priced it a little high. But I did post this. Someone, if anybody wants, they can purchase this and own this. And like I mentioned to you before, I like that each of my pieces will be more one of a kind than anything, because I'm not going to go back and color match all of this. I mean, maybe the pumpkin part, but her nails, the different colored patches, I can't remember what I mixed with what. So each of the toys will be unique. And honestly, I feel like that adds a lot of just personality to them as well. Because some people, they may like the more pink version, or they may like the more blue version, or green, or the color palettes are going to be completely different, and that's what I like about it. Speaking of different color palettes, I'm going to segue into this, but let's see. I'm going to show you the small version first, which has been one of my most popular things that I've put on TikTok.
Yes.
So you guys can see this little girl right here.
I love it.
I love her. She is done, and I haven't posted her yet because I am finishing up her her twin, basically. And I'll be posting both of them at the same time on my website as well. But I mean, this one obviously has that nice
that's so fun.
Orange jacket, blue skin, pink hair, and a lime green beanie, because why the heck not?
I love it.
Yeah, lots of different color, and you can't really see it here, but a lot of different funky shapes on her pants.
Oh, that's fun.
I grew up in the 90s. I'm aging myself right now, but that's okay. So yeah, that just reminds me of like, anybody who gets this will understand this, but it reminds me of the interior of a 90s, late 80s, early 90s Taco Bell.
Yep. I can see it. Honestly, I can see that.
Oh my gosh, it's those colors and it's the patterns. Amazing. But, so I haven't finished, you kind of saw it, a little sneak preview. I haven't finished the other small version. I did do a live yesterday, working on her. So she's a work in progress, really fun color scheme I've got going on with her. And obviously very different from what I did here. It's almost going to be the opposite of what I've done here now that I'm looking at it, which is hilarious. But this I actually did first. Before I did the small one, I really wanted to do a big one.
Oh,
the reason why I did that was because I had purchased something called a 400% Molly from Pop Mart. And it wasn't a sporadic purchase. It was something I was considering because the Molly had like Rick and Morty all over it. And I'm like, I work on that show. I feel like I should own this. And so I bought it, and I actually brought it with me to California when I went down to visit for work. And I actually had some of the crew sign it. So it's actually in my living room right now. And it has a couple of big signatures on there, including the voice of Rick, Ian Cardone. He's an awesome guy. Super nice. I really, really like him. I'm very happy he's on the team. But that's what kind of inspired me to go for something bigger, because I was like, why not? Why couldn't I? Like nothing was stopping me from kind of pursuing something a little different from what I'd been doing, because I've been doing the smaller stuff. I've been doing the smaller stuff at this point. And I was like, what's stopping me from going bigger? The answer was nothing, except for my own fear and understanding of trying to figure out whether or not it was going to work. She actually was the one I printed first before I printed the smaller one. So this one is actually the second.
Oh, wow.
I know.
There's definitely a difference in size.
There, right? Holding it side by side, you're just like, whoa, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
There is a size difference.
That's cool. That looks nice, though.
And it's heavy, too. 90% of her is hollow, but her shoes, because I wanted to keep the center of gravity at the bottom, her shoes are completely solid. So these are heavy.
Wow.
And I'm really glad I only did the shoes, because I was considering doing the pants as well, but that would have taken so much resin to make. So much resin. Anyway, she turned out really great. I'm not going to sell this one because I want to keep it as this is my first one. I've only ever sold one of my toys, and it was to a friend of mine at work. He bought the original version of this, the very first one I did, and he loves it. And I'm glad. That's why I had to make another one, because I was shocked at how much love this one got on TikTok. So I was like, okay, I'll make another one. So I did. And now I realize how much work went into her the first time, because having to do it again, I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done it. Now, my goal eventually with all of this is to try and figure out how to simplify without taking away the personality and the fun. And because for me, like I said, all of these individual pieces, it's art. It's a sculpture. It's not just a mass-produced thing. I literally modeled it, printed it, sanded it, prepped it, sprayed it, painted it, hand painted it, and signed it. Obviously, I had to do a little signature right there. All of my signatures or all of my figures have a signature on it. Except for a few of my first ones. Like this one doesn't have a signature because I never primed the base, and you can actually see the drainage holes. But I'm not going to sell it, so it's staying with me, so it doesn't need a signature. But yeah, each of these toys are a little bit of, I want to say a little bit of me without sounding gross, but they are. It's a little bit of my personality put into a collectible figure. And for me, whether or not somebody actually ever wants it, ever buys it, it doesn't matter to me. For me, it's getting that creative spark out and making it a reality. And I think that's what a lot of creative people and indie creators do. Is like they don't care. They don't really care if it's gonna do well.
Yeah.
They care because it's something they want and what they've dreamed up, where they have this idea and they're like, you know what? I want to make that happen. I'm going to figure that out. And I mean, it took me almost a year to do this.
Wow.
And it was after like a year of trial and error and just figuring it out and taking it one step at a time. And that's what I've come to love about it too, is like, I am learning something every single day. Every single time I decide to do something, I'm just like, well, that's another lesson in the book of how to make an art toy and how not to. But I love it because it means that there's still more to learn, you know? And I feel like that is something that a lot of people in this age of instant gratification and just AI also being a big thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a huge fan of AI art because it's just taking away from
Neither are we.
all the creatives out there, all of these amazingly talented people. It's just stealing ideas and mashing it together to create something new. And I'm not for that. What I am for when it comes to AI is helping at the very beginning to create like a prompt, not specifically a picture, but to create or just to develop like a prompt of like inspiration. Like, hey, I'm wanting to create something that is, I don't know, medieval, like those medieval age time period.
Yeah.
And like, is there an idea? Oh, why don't you create a wizard in a tower? Why don't you do like, it doesn't need to be a picture. It could be, say it out loud. But because when it's a picture, it is literally taking all of that creativity and it's like the epitome of how the higher ups, the people with money, already look at artists. You know what I mean? They already kind of look, they point their nose, like we get snuffed all the time just because we're creative people and artists, and we don't get paid nearly as much as we probably should. I mean,
very true.
A lot of the times it's what we need to realize is that they may look down on people like us. They may look down on the creative industry, the movie industry, like the animation industry right now. Everything is getting hit so hard. And it's because people are looking down and thinking it's less important. It's not a big deal. It's like, it's just art. Reality is like, you can't do it. Like, I know you're trying to create a bot that can do it, but there's legal action that's being taken to make that an impossibility. And hopefully it causes a stir. I mean, it's been a stir since the very beginning of the release of AI. Yeah. But what I really want is to gain that respect, which I feel like a lot of indie creatives and artists need, because we've earned that. Like, our creative brains deserve respect, because without creativity, I think about this all the time. Without creativity, you wouldn't have anything. If you think about it, a building, you wouldn't have buildings, you wouldn't have tools, you wouldn't have all these things. It's not someone threw money at it. Like, you can't just throw money at it and be like, turn into a house now. It's like, no, someone's got to design that house. And someone who had to develop the tools and design the tool to create that, all of these things. It starts, like, I don't want to quote Walt Disney, but like it starts with the mouse. It kind of starts with a creative.
Yep.
Someone had to come up with the idea. That's a creative. And the fact that the creative people are looked down as much as they are, we're in the wrong, what is it? It's that Community episode, The Wrong Dimension or something. Wrong reality. We're in the wrong reality. I genuinely feel like a lot of things would be a lot better if they let creatives be creatives and gave creatives the respect that they deserved. But we'll see what happens. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? And I stay optimistic.
Sorry, I wanted to applaud because you were hitting it like right on. It couldn't have been even better said, I think. It was, wow. I agree.
I'm sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but it's something I'm genuinely like.
I can tell
I
the
believe
passion
in it.
is there, and that is what we love to see because that is what creatives have that AI will never have. And so you are just modeling the prime like power of a creative is that passion behind their ideas, behind their like everything, because that passion is what brings it to life. And I can tell you are very passionate. You showing off all passionate. Of them too. Like as you were talking about each model, it's like you take your time into these things. You literally make them art, and it is amazing to see. I am inspired.
I feel so bad because I'm realizing that obviously you're recording, I assume, for YouTube as well, but
yeah,
your podcast is not going to be able to see any of that. And
we'll
I
link
feel
it in the
so
description.
bad about that.
It's mostly just on YouTube right now, so that's mainly where they're going to be watching. But I mean, in the future, we'll put the link to all your stuff, and then they can like, oh, hey, now that's what they're talking about.
Right, that's what she was referencing back there. Well, definitely take a look at the YouTube video so you have some context to all of those comments earlier.
Yeah, she makes amazing art. Like, I am blown away at your models, and obviously you're a character designer by trade, so it just makes sense that they look as good as they do and how like awesome they are. And man, like there's just so much we could go into with this, but I definitely want to respect your time.
I appreciate it.
I don't know how much more time you have. I have maybe like
one. Did you have a specific question that maybe you've been waiting for me to shut my mouth to ask?
Oh no, I mean I do have a question or two, but I want to make sure you have another one before I ask.
No, I don't.
Now you kind of touched on one of the questions I was going to ask earlier, which was your process for like how you like build an art figure. But I want to know more about the character design aspect of it, because that is one area that we haven't really like talked about too much. And you know, if you want to bring up your job, you can bring up a little bit about that. I'm not going to like pry into that, but I want to know like how does how, I guess you could give us a little bit of context of how you began your journey in character creation and what led you to it. But then how do you come up with like the characters? What is your process for that?
Yeah, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. How about that? Oh my gosh, I just aged myself again. Okay.
I remember though.
So character design was something that I didn't fall into per se, but I had loved animated movies growing up as a kid. Obviously, growing up in the 90s was the renaissance of Disney, all of that fun stuff. Classic cartoons like, oh my gosh, DuckTales, Tailspin, just anything on Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. I loved watching the old school Tom and Jerry. Like, that was my jam.
Oh, yeah.
And all of like the old school Looney Tunes. Even the ones that are probably banned now. I still watched them as a kid, and I loved them. Not because I knew what was going on, just because it was cartoons and it made me happy. But what really started the whole journey for me was finding out that these movies, these cartoons, these things that I loved so much is a job. I didn't know that until I was in middle school when I saw, just in my art class, because I was lucky enough to go to an art class in middle school. My art teacher had a book. It was called The Art of Animation. That was my first introduction to the fact that people have jobs to draw. Like you can work, you could draw for a living. This was so mind blowing to me. And I was just like, what? How? And I opened that book and I was just looking through it. And one of my great loves for these movies was just the characters. And I always loved how they moved, how, like in The Little Mermaid, how her hair would move in the water, and just how simple the shapes were, but it also felt like it was in constant motion. There's a whole documentary on that as well from the animators themselves and the developers. But it just fascinated me. Characters was a part of, like, it was a part of my childhood that I was fascinated by. So when I entered college and like was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, of course I wanted to go into art. I didn't have a ton of support in pursuing that endeavor. I mean, not that my parents didn't support my art. They weren't as pushy on going into a career in art, you know? But it was something that I had to kind of figure out on my own. I didn't go to an art college. I did not attend any classic art college, anything like that. Like people talk about Cal Arts a lot. Like there's the A113 reference in a lot of the Pixar films. That's a Cal Arts classroom number that a lot of those famous directors, artists, and animators come from or have come from, which is why they reference it so much. It's just a nod back to that. But as much as I wanted to, I couldn't, especially at the time, I just couldn't afford it. My parents weren't willing to pay for something like that. They wanted me to get an education in a college, and I didn't fit in college very well. I did 2 years of college, and then I was like, this isn't for me. And so I went to college in Utah, and then I came back home. At the time, I was living in California. Came back home to California. I actually ended up meeting my husband in California. You know, I've been married for 14 years. Just a few days ago, we celebrated our 14th anniversary. I know, it's kind of crazy. But the one thing that really helped push me pursue that direction, because I didn't go to school, I didn't know even where to start when it came to character design, was my husband. He's been extremely supportive of my artistic abilities. Like he would tell me, like, if I felt like your art was bad, I'd say, oh, that's nice, but go try and get a job at Target. You know, I'd kind of give you little nods, little hints, like, hey, maybe you should get that job over at Target or just somewhere. But he always pushed me to freelance. And that's where I really got started. I would freelance. I would do children's book illustrations, which weren't my favorite thing at all. Clients were always so overly critical or were just nitpicking at the smallest things. And it was just, I was not making enough money for the time I would spend on that stuff. And so what I ended up doing, I would just continue to like work on a character design portfolio. I would learn from YouTube, of all places. I would learn from YouTube. And I like to joke around and say, oh, I graduated from YouTube University, because I kind of did. I learned how to use a lot of the programs that I currently use from YouTube, free education, and it works. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to try and toot my own horn here, but obviously you have to have talent when it comes to entering the industry, especially with it being as competitive as it is.
Yeah. So
I had the talent, and I also had the support. I had my husband who was supporting me and was willing to, he was willing to say, hey, you just keep going. And it was hard. For a good 10 years, I freelanced, and I kept trying to find my way into the industry. I kept applying. I kept working on my portfolio. And I kept trying to gain new knowledge, like new knowledge of how character design was done, until I had the opportunity for my first ever real industry job. I did have a small job where I was doing prop design for a Disney animated show in, goodness, I believe that was 2010 was that job. And it was because a friend of mine was working at the animation, like the Disney television animation at the time. Mm-hmm. A family friend was working there, and he said, hey, why don't you do some stuff for us? And so I freelanced and I did some prop design, which wasn't really my wheelhouse, but I was just happy to get anything on my resume. I don't know if you remember the show, but it's called Kick Buttowski, Suburban Daredevil. I only worked on one episode, but I got to work on an episode for Disney television animation on an episode that aired, and you could see my props on that episode. And so it was a confidence booster for me, that's for sure. And I kept working and working, and then I finally got my first character related job working as a character cleanup artist, or a character line artist. It wasn't even cleanup, it was a line artist it's called Lego Monkey Kid, and it's actually on Amazon Prime. Oh. It's actually really well animated, and it was a studio based in Australia. And so I had to work on Australia time, which was interesting because they obviously, it's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. I could spend my entire day working and nobody would be in the office, and then I'd send them a bunch of stuff by 6 o'clock at night, and it's 9 a.m. for them, which is the start of the day. But that was my first full industry job that I got by myself, just by applying. And ever since then, yes, after that job, I didn't get another job. They didn't keep me on. I just kept applying. I kept reaching out. I went to this thing that happens over in LA. I think it's called CDN. I think that's what it's called. Or basically it's a convention where the studios come together and they do portfolio reviews, they do presentations, and it's just where a lot of artists in the animation industry go. And I told my husband, I was like, babe, I'm just going to go to this because I feel like I can talk with people. I can talk to people in the industry. Yeah. And that's what I did. And when I went there, I made a connection with a guy who worked at the time for a company called, it's not even a production company anymore, but the people that did My Little Pony, like the new version of My Little Pony, I believe they worked on the movie for that movie for My Little Pony. And I got talking to him, and it was a studio based in Canada, but I didn't get a job or anything, but I had that connection. I had that person who I could continue to talk to. And he ended up sending me a link to a job and said, you should apply for this. And I said, okay, I will. I applied to it. I didn't get the job. And actually he ended up getting the job, but he actually had to retract his acceptance of the job because he had something else come up. He was offered something else. They ended up calling me and saying, would you like the job? And I was devastated when I first didn't get it because I was like, I thought I did so good. Oh, well, it's okay. And then literally 2 days later, I got a call asking if I would accept the job. And that was my very first character design job at Bento Box Atlanta. Now, there's Bento Box LA and there's Bento Box Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Atlanta is like the sister studio of the Bento Box LA studio. But Bento Box is actually the studio that produces Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
So very popular animated show there. But they do a lot of other things, not just Bob's Burgers. So I was working on a lot of the smaller things. But yeah, that job was my very first character design job. And ever since then, I stayed in communication with the people I worked with. those people ended up going off and doing something else and saying, hey, I know a character designer. You should use her. And because I kept growing a reputation, I just kept growing and growing and growing. And then eventually, one of the other guys that I worked with at Bento Box LA, because at that point I had moved to Bento Box LA, he got pulled into Rick and Morty. And then he threw in my name for the character design position that they had. And then I got pulled into Rick and Morty. This is within like a 5-year span from the very beginning of getting that first job in Australia to now being a lead character designer on Rick and Morty.
Wow.
It is amazing how much happened in that little bit of time. And it just like that. And I genuinely think that it's because of the support I had from my husband and just the fact that I just didn't give up. And a lot of people, the hard thing is that a lot of people lose that sense of that, just that desire. They lose that desire because they've had too many no's. You've had too many no return phone calls or emails. You've applied to a million jobs. You've lost track. You've rearranged your resume to make it look better. You've had portfolio review after portfolio review. You've done everything they've said to do. Reality is that it just takes one chance. One person's got to give you a chance. And if you give up, like the day before that person posts their job, there goes your chance. And sometimes it won't come back. I've had so many rejections in my life that it is depressing because it's hard when you feel like you should be there.
Yeah.
You feel like you should have gotten there. You've worked so hard. You've done so much. So to get rejection after doing everything that you genuinely thought was right, 90% of the time, the reason why you got rejected was because they hired a friend, they hired a recommended name who already has credit in the industry, or maybe it was because they found someone who was better. And that's the reality. Someone's always going to be better, whether it's because they take less pay, whether it's because they genuinely are better because they're able to do a turnaround, a character turn in 30 minutes rather than 3 hours, because that would be insane. First of all, that's an impossibility. Honestly, you can never think of yourself as the best. You got to keep striving to do better and better. That's one of the reasons why I like looking at my mistakes. That's why when I get constructive criticism, I use it as a growing opportunity, because I will never be done learning. I will never be done growing. Even if I get to the top of the food chain where I'm a producer or I've created my own show, I'm a director, who knows? Or I become uber popular from these art toys. I don't know. All I know is that I will never stop learning, because I don't want to believe that I will have learned everything, because I know that that's not the case, because someone on the opposite side of the world probably has some knowledge that I have no idea about, and that what I would benefit from. And that's one of the fantastic things about social media as well. Being able to reach out to people. Don't care about whether or not they'll never reach out to you. Be okay with reaching out, because sometimes you just never know. Yeah. I've had people reach out to me who ask me for portfolio reviews, and 90% of the time I don't respond back quickly because I'm busy and I forget. But a lot of the time I will respond back, and I will offer that as a service that I could do, and just be like, you know what, let me help you, because I wish I had that help. And if I could do that for somebody else and save them a couple years of struggle, I'd be happy to do it, because it's something I wish I had. And that is definitely something. No safeguarding your secrets. You gotta spread the information.
You're one of
not
us.
Behind a paywall or anything either.
Yeah.
Like so many people do with their digital products and stuff like that. I thought about it, but I wasn't going to do it.
Well, that's good.
Anyway, so that is my story as far as how I got into character design. That was not Cliff Notes. That was not Cliff Notes.
Hey, no, that was amazing, and that deserves a...
So many people here tonight.
The audience gets a little carried away, but no, this has been amazing, Alexa. I am blown away. You are so encouraging, so inspiring. You literally are just going with it. Like, there is no doubt that you have the passion, that you have the drive, and just to hear about your story and to watch you continue to be carried, like, to where you want to go. It seems like it is happening and it's going to continue to happen for you. So, yeah, I am blown away. I am so grateful that you even agreed to come on the show and share your wisdom and your knowledge and your passion with us. That is one of the most beautiful things. And yeah, I'm speechless. Like, I am so grateful for you and grateful for your time. I don't want to take
Thank you.
too much longer. I just wanted to ask one mini question here, and it's
sure.
If fans of the show were watching or listening to this, is there one character that you designed that they would recognize immediately?
Okay. I will use a character for Rick and Morty because that's the most popular of the things that I've worked on. Let's see. A single character that I've worked on. I've worked on a lot of stuff. I've touched Rick, I've touched Morty, I've touched Beth, I've touched Jerry, I've touched Summer. I've touched every main character at one point or another, as far as like drawing something new on them. But as far as brand new characters go, goodness, that's kind of tough. It's not a new character per se, but it is something that I'm very proud of because I worked very hard on it. And when it came out, it got the guttural reaction that I kind of wanted people to have. This is a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen season 7, episode 5. It's the Evil Rick episode. So I apologize if you haven't seen it. I'm going to say it, and this is anyone who's listening, just warning you now. But in that episode, I believe it's called Unmortricken, that's the name of the episode, and it's the weirdest name. I did not come up with that. But Evil Rick it's gross, and I'm so sorry. Evil Rick is punched to death by our hero Rick. Because he's getting his revenge from what he did to his wife in all of the universes. That punch out sequence, I designed about 30 individual frames. So that entire punch out sequence that you see him getting worse and worse and worse as he's getting punched and punched and punched, that was me. Oh, wow. I designed that. And it is pretty horrendous. And honestly, I didn't expect them to be okay with the first version. So when they came back and said, yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. Because I did not hold back.
Yeah.
That is all I'm going to say. And also, even though that's not a character, I'll give you one character that I did like from season 7. At the very last episode of season 7 was the Fear Hole. It's not called the Fear Hole, but it's the Fear Hole episode. So anybody who watches the show, they'll know. There is a horrendous goblin creature that yanks Morty down and starts to try and shove maggots into his belly. Okay.
Oh.
I designed the goblin creature that pulls him down, and you see his face and the maggots in his stomach. That is another character that I kind of went for it, and they said, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's one of those that I'm like, I'm glad it made it in. I'm glad they didn't change anything, and I'm glad it's pretty much 100% me. So you see that in the show, that is me as well. And those may not be like two of like the biggest things, but they're the things that stood out to me as like my personal favorites. And people will recognize them. So there's that too.
Just out of curiosity, what was your biggest one that you did for that show then?
Oh, geez. Oh, let's see. You know what? The biggest one I've done has not come out yet.
Oh,
so you're gonna have to wait until season 9.
that's a good little.
I'm not going to say it.
Hey,
I'm not
that's a
going to
good
say
way to
it.
get people to watch. They're gonna be like, "Wait, which one?"
Yeah, you could definitely ask me later on when season 9 comes out. I'll tell you, but not until all of season 9 plays because I can't tell you which specific episode it's from.
That sounds like a plan to me. We'll definitely have to have you back on the show. It's been amazing, and I'd love to have Frae and Rachel on the next time because they'd have some
Yeah.
good things to ask you as well. So,
Oh,
wow,
cool.
that is amazing, Alexa. And one last thing, just tell the people where they can find you. Where can they find you and your works?
Okay, so yeah, once again, my name is Alexa Hanson. You can find me on IMDb actually, but but you can find all of my art toys on my website, badappletoys.com, as well as on my TikTok with the same name and my Instagram with the same name. I do have a Facebook, but let's be honest, Facebook is dead to me.
Yeah.
I don't use it. So yeah, Bad Apple Toys is where it's at. And if you do want to see some of like my personal artwork that's non-toy related, I also have an Instagram account called Lexi Sketch. So think of Etch-a-Sketch, but Lexi Sketch, all one word.
Very cool. Is that Lexi with an I or a Y?
It is with an I. Lexi-Sketch.
Very cool.
I struggled through that. I am not a good speller, so even though it's my own website. Oh my gosh.
We will be sure to link all that down below for the people in the podcast and watching it on YouTube. That'll all be linked below, so definitely go check out Alexa. She is amazing. Her art toys are phenomenal. We look forward to seeing what you come up with in the future for those, because I'm sure you're just getting started. So that's going to be...
Oh yeah, me too.
It's going to be so fun to like watch your journey. Yeah, I think we'll wrap this up a little bit sooner, early here. So Katie and I are... Well, oh no, I revealed her real name.
It's fine.
I'm still getting used to the Lemona.
Oh no, is that an edit? Right. Can you edit that out? Just bleep it out.
The audience knows her as Katie for the most part.
Yeah.
If they watch,
you said it again.
It's no secret at this point.
It's been revealed.
We started the podcast. She was going by that, but she decided recently that she wanted to start going by an art name. So it's still hard for the rest of us.
Says otherwise. She gave you a glare of like, "Excuse me, you used my real name."
We could
my secret identity is lost.
We'll bleep it. We'll put like a swear bleep in there so it's unpredictable what I just said. Lemona and I, you can find us on our own social media accounts. Lemona is, I think, you're Lemon with Wings on Instagram, right?
I think so. And Lemona Bonneray on TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all I have at the moment for platforms.
Yes. But definitely go check her out. She's starting to do more stuff, and we got some exciting announcements regarding her work here soon.
Awesome.
That's going to be exciting. And you can find me at Tanner's Tales Entertainment or Number 2 Pencil Man. I am the giant pencil superhero. And, of course, our group is the Dreamscape Empyrean. You can follow us on all socials as Dreamscape Empyrean. If you like what we do, like I said before, thumbs us up, comment on the videos, subscribe, help us grow this platform, because indie artists have a lot to offer the world, and we want to help be the platform that we can help showcase them to all of you guys. So, yeah.
Support indie creators.
Oh, yeah. It's
Support
the biggest
artists.
thing you can do. Absolutely.
We make the world go round, quite literally.
Oh, yeah. It makes the world a difference to us, and it helps the world see new things, because, yeah, we want to see that. So, please consider doing all that. And if you're an artist and want to be on the show, like I said, message us directly and we can get you scheduled. So I think that's pretty much everything for this episode, guys. Alexa is amazing.
Sweet.
So thank you guys again for watching. And Alexa will definitely have you back on in the future.
Yeah, you just let me know.
Sounds good. And we will see you guys later on Indie Synergy Exchange. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.